This is Hard Parking, brought to you by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jhae Pfenning, recording from my home studio in Gilbert, Arizona. The Lakers drafted Bronny. If you guys aren't into sports, Bronny James is LeBron James's eldest son, played college at USC, and was drafted in the second round of the NBA draft by the Los Angeles Lakers. Rumors were that LeBron James was not going to sign with the Lakers, and he would go with whatever team drafted his son. Other rumors is his son is undraftable, but they did it anyway. This kid averaged less than 5 points a game at USC. There's another player at USC that averaged just under 18 points a game who did not get drafted. But I'm not even mad. I think it's pretty cool. LeBron James said a few years ago he would love to play basketball with his son on the same NBA team, and it sounded ridiculous. But LeBron James he's still going pretty strong. Now, I'm a Jordan guy through and through, and I've made fun of LeBron plenty of times. But honestly, if we're being honest, at the end of the day, he probably has the greatest career in NBA history from age of 18 to now. And again, he could probably play another 2 or 3 years. Jordan is the GOAT. To me, there's no dispute. By any measure other than longevity, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. But I don't hate LeBron James. And it's too bad that he gets ridiculed all the time. A lot of it is his own fault. But at the end of the day, he's a great player, and it looks like on some level he's going to be able to play with Bronny. Now, personally, I think it's a joke if Bronny makes the active roster. He should spend all his time in the development league and in the summer league. But at some point, even if it's the preseason, at some point they're going to be on an NBA floor together. Or I hope they are. And that'll be pretty damn cool. Coming up on today's show, we catch up with Brian Sales, Mr. Warriors Vision, Mr. SeeThrougIt podcast. Last time he was on the show, I believe it was the Houston Taqueria shooting. I usually bring him on here just for controversy. But as you guys know, I do the mental health check-in. I don't talk to him nearly as much as I used to. We used to talk almost every day. And he's been busy. I've been busy. And we talked politics. We talked about the debate. Hell, by the time this breaks, unless you're listening to this early Monday morning, there may already be a change on the Democratic side. And I'll say this now, because when you listen to this episode, it may sound different. I don't swing one way or the other when it comes to Republican and Democrats. But I see what I see, and I hear what I hear. And I felt, going into this conversation with Brian, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't election. Most people do not believe that Biden can run this country in this current state. Russell Brand posted on Twitter, or X, a side-by-side comparison of the 2019 versus the 2024 Biden, and he is just a completely different person. And it's sad. You know, he served this country for a long time, 50-plus years. A career politician, whether you think that's good or not. I personally am not into career politicians because that's what they are. But I'm pretty sure he's done some good, and it's sad to see somebody up there running for president with this type of decline. So hopefully in the next couple of days they swap out for another candidate. I don't know who it would be, but I would love to. I'd vote for Dean Phillips. You may not know who he is. Look up Dean Phillips interview. Dean Phillips all-in podcast interview. You might vote for him too. Coming up after this word from 4 Wheel Online, Mr. Brian Sales. For over a decade, 4 Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any make or model on the road. The truck products cover everything to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. Need a wheel and tire package? Head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. Visit them online at 4 Wheel Online. All right, Mr. Brian Sales, Mr. Warriors Collection, Mr. SeeThrougIt. It's been a long time. I think it's been at least a year, maybe 2, since we've been on the podcast together. I think the last time, every time we come together, it's over controversy. The last time it was the Houston Taqueria shooting, and that video had a lot of comments. You know, as we knew, it would kind of smoke out people on both sides of the discussion, and all we were trying to do was have a discussion, and people would
Right.
just get so in their feelings.
Some
You know,
people were they were pretty
yeah,
mad.
people get so in their feelings.
Uh,
But I mean, this time it's not that. I wanted to check in with you just because, we don't even chat as much anymore, but
hmm
we're still on the same chat channels
Yeah.
and kind of see how you're doing, see all what's going on. I'm wearing my Warriors
Yeah.
collection shirt right here. I
Still
have two
holding
of
up.
them. I have a gray one too. It's very
That's
similar to the one you
fantastic.
have. Yeah, and then of course I have my coffee back here. So we'll plug the coffee.
There we go.
So
It,
yeah, we'll
it's
plug the coffee here in a little bit before we get out of here. But what's going on with you?
oh man, it's you know, just day by day living and growing and just been doing a lot of growing. A lot of things. Just been doing a lot of growing basically. We got the homestead. We know, our daughter, she's gonna be turning 2 in September. Just growing the family and being more intentional with the things that I'm spending my time doing.
Hmm.
I think I'm 38 now, or 39. I don't even know no more. My son usually reminds me of how old I am. But yeah, just trying to be more intentional with my family and really valuing that time with them. And um, yeah, because remember when we first met on social media, I was trying to get the podcast going. I was trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with the business. And I don't even, I spent some time with the podcast, spent some time with the business, but it's not even like my main focus anymore. If it happens, it happens. If the podcast happens, it happens. But I'm more focused on cultivating what I have right now and going from there.
So speaking on your podcast, you're on season 7,
Season
episode
7, yeah.
3 is coming up, or
Episode,
or two? I think two
episode,
just dropped.
no, so episode 3 just dropped. We did episode 2 for the Father's Day one. We did that one,
Okay.
and so episode 3 just dropped. Working on episode 4, but yeah, I finished up season 6. It just ended. I had to step away, and again, I was doing some more growing. I don't know if you're familiar, but I've been walking with, doing this walk with God and just been
I'm familiar.
taking inventory of my own life. And yeah, so I just been doing that and been focused on that. And season 6 was going. I was hyped up about season 6. It was gonna be, I thought it was gonna be a certain way, and then I got to what episode I got to, and it just stopped, and a whole new path and direction I was going down. So the things that I was talking about before wasn't appealing to me anymore. I didn't really see any value. I didn't see any way that I was really helping anyone with the certain topics that that I had scheduled. So that season ended abruptly, and I came back with season 7 to focus on, making sure that the things that I'm going to be talking about is going to be beneficial to everyone, and make sure that I'm honing on myself to show that these things are possible. With episode 1, I'm sorry, episode 1, I focused on consistency, commitment, and persistent. A lot of times in my previous seasons, every time something didn't go right or the numbers wasn't looking right, my persistency would take a hit and I would, fall off. And so this season, we making sure that, no matter what's going on, whether it's one view, half a view, no views, I'm putting the message out there, and that in hopes that someone one day will see it and be like, I need to hear that and go from there. So no more am I really focused on the numbers. It's a struggle because we in a numbers game, right? So we want to know what the numbers are, but I'm trying to make sure that I don't look at the numbers. I don't really pay attention to it. I just put the stuff out there and hope that whoever needs to hear, whoever needs to see it can see it and be like, someone else went through what I went through and they are doing better. And that means I can do the same thing. I can be better. I can be free. I can have joy. I can have peace. So
How are you defining your seasons? Because like, how do we get to season 7? What does it take to end a season other than the abruptness ending of season 6?
I don't. So every season, I will start out and say, we're gonna shoot for 50 episodes. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shoot for
Like
50
five
episodes.
zero?
Yeah, 50 we're gonna have.
What's
50
the long?
episodes.
Hold on. What's the longest
The
you've
longest
gone
season? Oh, so the
outside of season
longest
like
season,
three?
that's there it is.
Yeah, that's season three.
Season three is the longest one. And and if you check those episodes out, they were all on, injustice, civil rights things, or whatever the case, because 2020. So it was a lot of
Mm,
controversy that we could talk on. I could have did probably 100 episodes, but even in that season, I had to take breaks because this stuff was burning me out. Remember, many times we had conversation where it was like, man, this is just the stuff
hmm.
that we're seeing was just exhausting, and it just pulls so much from you that even in that, I had to step away. And those were little signs that, I was being pulled away from those topics. You know, uh, just I don't even know how. Like I said, we could have did 100 episodes, but a lot of times I was just exhausted from it. I felt the tug, like, all right, we don't need to talk about that no more. It was so much, but that is the longest season because it was just so much garbage. And as I have grown, the my the things I wanted to talk about changed, and the things that I valued slowly was changing. And it's just been a growing process, a pruning process. To now we're at season 7, where like I didn't even usually episode 1 I open it up and I would say, you know what, we're gonna shoot for 30, we're gonna shoot for this, and we're gonna go all nope. I'm gonna do until it's time for me to shut it down, and I'm gonna shut it down, and and that's it. But my main goal is to be consistent, committed to it, and persistent no matter what the storm looks like. And we're gonna go from there because, I've made promises of this the number, we're gonna hit it. And we ain't hit that number since season 3.
What's the shortest season?
The shortest season, I think it's 6. Is it 6? Oh,
Six
probably 4.
episodes. I was just say I think
Uh,
that there's some of them. It's like, damn, what happened to Brian? Oh, he's on another season. All
I
right.
think season 4 and season 6 might be the shortest ones because remember season 4 I had moved, so I was like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna cover these things, and then that was a nope, shut that down. No, had to shut that down, and it's good because as you're growing, different things become valuable to you. Your
Yeah.
mindset starts to change, and that's growth. So I can look at it as a negative, but I'm choosing to look at it as, that was important at that time, and now I've moved on. I'm doing this now. Now I'm doing this now, and this is where we're at. And until this change, this is where I'm at. And it may be 10 episodes, it may be 5, but I want to be consistent in it and go from there.
Can I offer this? Because I used to do the seasons. I only did a couple of them. Um, and then technically I would be on season 3 right now, but I don't even. So when I upload, it gives you an option to put what season you're in and what episode you're in. I don't even fill out the season anymore. I just do the
Hmm.
episode. I think if you do the episode counter,
Yeah.
then you can see your progress over time, and you can see, because I think when you do season and then you cut off the episode, then you can do what you want. I'm just thinking as I listen to you here
Yeah.
and hearing what some of your goals are, is if you say, okay, well, this is season 5, episode 4, then it feels like you only did 4 episodes. Your mind registers not the seasons, but the episodes, versus this is episode 126. So then you can look back, you're like,
Mm.
damn, I did 125 episodes so far. And we've talked about this before. The average podcast fizzles out by episode 7.
Hmm.
And so you can see your success over time, whether you do one every week or every month or every 3 months or once every other week, just inconsistently that much, at least you can consistently see that you're still putting out podcasts. So that
Right.
might be,
That makes sense.
but then of course it takes you to go back and be like, okay, where are we at now? Only got 10 digits up here and 10 digits down there. I can only count, to so much, but I don't know, maybe next time you drop it, it could be season 7, episode 4, or just be, this is episode 78. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a big
I,
number.
I think right now I'm at episode 106, 106.
See? Think
So I'm
about
like,
that.
yeah, yeah.
You say I've done
Yeah,
105 episodes out of everything that I've done over the past X amount of years, all the 2020 bullshit, all
yeah,
that stuff. But here we are, and this is the progress chart. Speaking of, back when I was on Twitter before it switched to X, you had the shows, the broadcast shows. And I
Yeah.
thought those are great,
Hmm.
and people could join those and have open discussion with you. I thought they were fantastic. But that's one of those things where, I said, I'm done with Twitter. And it's not that I didn't get in Twitter fights with anybody. It's just every time I open up the application, it was so negative. The
Yeah.
stuff that I was into, I'd read, whether it was sports, nothing with cars. I think Twitter's terrible with any car stuff, but like sports, latest news, sometimes politics. It was
Hmm.
just so negative, and
Yeah.
I just got so addicted to just opening up Twitter to see what people were saying all the time. So then I took the app and I moved it to the back of the phone.
I did the
I'm
same
not,
thing.
yeah, I'm not one to delete my account. I don't
Yeah.
think there's any value in that. But I moved it to the back of the phone, and then eventually I just deleted the app, but I didn't
Hmm.
delete my account.
Hmm.
Obviously, as I hit you up, earlier this week, I just couldn't resist, man. I just had to now it's X. I just had to sign into X, and because of the presidential debate that happened on
Yeah. Yeah.
Monday,
Yeah.
and I go, oh, I just know X is blowing up right now, and it's a good place to kind of get the temperature of what people are really thinking.
Yeah.
And holy crap. So
Yeah.
now I'm not really addicted to it, but I'm checking it all the time just to see what people are saying again.
Yeah, I looked at it the day after, and that was it's a mess. Uh, it's a mess. It's really a mess. People are lost. I'm just saying,
Hmm.
people are lost. People are confused, and people don't know which way to go. You know, uh, I would say I was a fan of Trump. I wouldn't say I was a fan of Trump. I like Trump. I liked him
Hmm.
for businessman, his mindset. So I didn't find anything wrong with how he, handled things back in the past, whatever. Joe Biden, he's Joe Biden, and the things that he did back in his past, I didn't agree with. So now we're in 2024, and the how both sides are viewing these individuals, they've both made them into gods, basically. Joe Biden can't do no wrong when he's clearly up there. He can't speak. Trump can do no wrong when he's just fabricating things. I'm not saying that he's lying about everything, but some things and he knows that he didn't do certain things. Especially with the Second Amendment. He the one that introduced the bump stock stuff, but people on the right won't acknowledge that. They're like, oh well, blah blah blah. So we'll grill the left for their stance on the Second Amendment, but because Trump is on your side, it's all right that he took this stance. It's just weird.
Right.
We're in a
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
place. It's so weird. Like either both of them suck or they both suck. You can't say this one is good and for his things, but ignore the fact that he's taking this stance and you're supposed to be like a hardcore, you know, gun right person, but then this person has this stance on it, and you're like, no, this person is pure evil because of their stance. And it's a mess. I all I can do is pray for the country and that's it because either it doesn't matter who gets in. I don't know how they allow Trump to get in. I don't see him winning because they didn't let him win last time. I don't even think our votes matter. Uh, it, we live in a fairy tale world. It's a fairy
Yeah.
tale land.
It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't right now. And, we watched that clip of
Hmm.
Biden in 2019 versus Biden in 2024, the
Oh man.
debate, and it is a completely different person. And it's funny because I always say this on my show. I don't talk politics, but this is an election year, and I think this is like probably the fourth episode where it's even come up, and it will continue to come up because this is a very pivotal part. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I'm a human being in American. You're a human being in American. This is not a political show, but we're people with real opinions and real
Mhm.
eyes, and not to well, actually to kind of a play of words to kind of see through it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like your brand, you have to be able to view through the lens of your own eyes and your own brain and your own ability to process what it is you're watching
Yeah.
versus, I think a lot of us, a lot of Americans, a lot of the voters, they just rely on what they see on social media, what they
Yep.
see on a headline. DeSantis said this, this, this. Oh, well, he's a bad person. Instead of going back and listening to like an hour and a half of him having a unscripted interview in open
Hmm.
forum with people to really understand what he's like.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, you may find that you agree on a lot of the stuff that he says and disagree on some things that you thought that you did agree on
Hmm.
with him. And it's the same thing with every presidential candidate. And I talk about that again. I talk about All In podcast on my show now with Chamath and Freeberg, David Sachs, and Jason Calconis. They call him J Cal.
Hmm.
And they've had half a dozen presidential candidates on their show, and it's been all unscripted. And they haven't tried to attack them, but they've just all asked questions, Q&A, all four of them. And sometimes they'll get into it with the candidates, sometimes they won't. But and they just had Trump on like 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
and so they have an open invite to Biden. Like one of the guys contributed a lot of money to the Democratic Party, so he's anti-Trump, pro-Biden. But even he has said that over time, and this is what I always say about our presidents, history will tell us if they were any good or not. We don't know right now if they're good or not. Only history looking back. That's my opinion.
Mm.
Because, almost to your point, it feels like it doesn't matter. Because if something happens underneath their watch, you're going to remember it for being them. My example is Trump. Wasn't the best. I didn't really know what he did on a day-to-day basis that actually personally affected me and my finances, because at the end
Hmm.
of the day, that's all we really care about is how does this affect me and my family, really, right? That's all we
Right.
really care about. And I know me, along with 46 million other Americans that lost their jobs in 2020 because of everything. Um, he implemented the additional stipend, and that's how we lived for 5 months. I mean, my wife has a full-time job, and so we were able to float. And then once I finally got a contract job again, 5.5 months later, we were good to go. Now, I've heard people say, well, that wasn't Trump. That was da 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 da, just like you were saying earlier. That was da 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 da. I was like, well,
Yeah.
all I know is as an American, he was president and he signed that bill and I got extra money and I was able to survive for 6 months. So that made him out to be a hero. It's the same deal with, I guess, Biden just giving all this money away to people who want free money.
Yeah.
It's killing our economy.
Yeah.
It's destroying it, and people don't
Yeah.
understand that. But all they know is they're going to look up and say, "I needed that money. I used that money to get through it. So Biden is my guy."
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's just one of these weird things. I know that they've been pushing to put somebody else in instead of Biden to run, but for whatever reason, the Democratic Party decided that he was the best guy, and I couldn't. I'll say this: I can't tell you right now that I would vote for Donald Trump, but I know for a fact I wouldn't vote for Joe Biden
No. Yeah.
because if you vote for him, it feels like it's just a puppet show and there's a shadow government behind him pulling all the strings.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just they have to get somebody else up there.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, and as you were saying, we have to be able to look at things and from a rational point, look at it and be like, if I was talking to someone else, let's say I'm going to the dealership, right, and I'm asking them about a car and that I want to buy, and they can't tell me nothing about this car. They're stumbling through whatever they're saying, and I'm like, eh, well, I thought I want to buy this car. Is there anyone else that can explain this to me? And then someone else comes up and they're doing the same thing. And they're trying to make sure the person that, the first person that you talk to, they're trying to say, yeah, what he was saying is they're repeating it or, trying to say, yeah, it's all good. And you're like, what? Are you hearing what I'm hearing right now? No, yeah, what he's saying makes sense. What is he saying? I'm asking about, you got to be able to look at that and be like, all right, this ain't right. This ain't right. And you not about to take my vote. I can't vote for you because you ain't telling me nothing. And the people around you are acting like this is okay. And I know this is not okay. So I really don't know how Americans are looking at this and really defending this nonsense. I really don't. And it has to be some kind of like detachment from mind and body. That's the only way I can explain how people they're not using their rational mind to see what's happening in front of them in real time. And you know how people you can doctor a big video, pictures, but when things are happening in real time, you can't hide that.
Right.
Like you you can't justify that. And right now and as you said, we most Americans only care about what's going to affect them in their home. And that, for a year or so, I was on Twitter hard trying to get people to
Hmm.
understand, hey, you worried about the White House, but your mayor and your city council, they're raping you. Your property taxes, the different laws that they're putting in place to get more taxes from you, the different zoning and all this. They're doing all this while you're focused on DC. Your own county, city, state is doing all kind of things to you, and you don't even realize it. You don't even know who's on your council, who's on the council board. We are somehow we got played, and we're focusing on DC, and we got played, and we're still being played.
Yeah, it's if your average person is going to blame DC, regardless of who's there, for things that happen to them in their own communities,
Exactly.
right? In their own
Like your
areas.
HOA
Yeah.
could be raping you, right? Your HOA could be raising what is it, the annual fee that you have to pay to be there,
Hmm.
right? It's because they have to regulate water, or whatever you're doing on your sidewalk. Just these things that people are not paying attention to every day. Your school boards, your just all of that stuff. You're not paying attention to that because you're so focused on DC, like Biden. A lot,
Biden
I
raised my HOA dues.
Yeah. And that's killing you right there. The different county things, your zoning. You missed out on a piece of land because now they've rezoned something, and you can't have what you used to have. Like if you had chickens, or if you wanted to have chickens out in the city, or where you're not really in the city, but you're in that little soft area, and they come through and rezone it, and you didn't know that because you're looking at seeing CNN about whatever they're talking about at that time. You missed the meeting for that zoning. And now that's Trump's fault or Biden's fault. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. This is we're such a. I feel like we say this every 4 years. We're at such a critical, pivotal part in our country, and I think anybody, unless you're just a blind diehard Trumper, or if you're just a blind diehard Biden supporter, everybody in the middle looked at that and said, "God, we are in trouble."
Yeah.
Republicans looked at that and said that, and Democrats were like, "Holy shit, like we have an issue."
Yeah.
And I listened to a guy's interview named Dean Phillips. I want to say his name was Dean Phillips. I want to say he's from the Northeast, and he was coming in as a Democrat. He didn't necessarily align with the rest of the goals and the viewpoints of the Democratic Party. And like RFK, they pushed him into being an independent. And once you get pushed into being an independent, no one's going to listen to you. No one's going to support you. So he's not on the
Hmm.
ballot. But that's one candidate that I absolutely, based on what I heard from him in an hour and a half interview, I absolutely would have voted for. And I didn't agree with everything he said, but enough of it to where he would have got my vote. And it's too bad because there's a lot of candidates out there that are like that. That just because of how I'm going to say it, man, our government is corrupt.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I'm proud to be an American. I love my country. I would live nowhere else other than here. But we got to figure something out at the top because when we have people out there that are equipped to run this country and they don't even get a shot, they
Hmm.
don't have $500,000 that it costs per state at least to get on the ballot because they're not raising the campaign money, then we're missing out on everything that this country was fundamentally designed to be.
Yep.
It's like, hey, do you want to run for city council? Sure. All right, we'll put your name in the bucket. Tell them what you want to go for. Put down the photos on the corner of every lot and run. But no, when it comes to the stuff at the top, it doesn't work that way. And I
Hmm.
think, you know, uh, our democracy should be that way, and it's not. And it's been fucking, I don't know, probably 100 years since it's been that way. But
Yeah.
until it gets like that, it's just, I think this year is going to be proof that we need to introduce a third major party because remember that website I tell people about? I think it's istandwith.com or isidewith.com, something like that, where it's a political third party website where you go through and you answer like 100 questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I
And
remember
then
that.
it calculates your responses and it ranks you which party you're most aligned with. And on
Hmm.
that, There's actually, I want to say there's probably 12 or 13 parties out there at least. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, Democrat and Republican are the ones that rise to the top. And, I think when I took it the last time, I think it was maybe 2020, right? When I took it in 2020, I think I agreed with 58% of what Republicans were saying, and I agreed with 52% of what Democrats would say. And then they actually ranked like 6th or 7th on the list,
Hmm.
down from which my party affiliation. And then the first 5, I've never even heard of those parties. So,
Hmm.
that just tells you that there's a lot of stuff out there. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, we have our choice of the Democrat or Republican, and they may not be what we actually agree with the most as people. We're just been kind of groomed to think and believe that way.
Yeah. I'm not even this year is just it's another year for me. It's like I said, I don't even know. I'm not I don't plan on taking part in the madness. I haven't like I said, this debate was the first one that I looked at Twitter for to see the people's reaction and to watch the different little parts of it. But other than that, I'm not really paying attention. When it's time to vote, I'm probably gonna write myself in or uh
Can
yeah, I'm probably
I
gonna
get your vote?
write my oh, whoever wants it because is I don't want either one of them in there because if
Right.
Trump gets in, it's gonna be a madhouse. I feel like we'll see riots. And we don't need that nonsense, especially ignorant people destroying their own homes. Like, and then we have to pay for that. The taxpayers got to
Hmm.
revamp all that up, like or live with the consequences of it now looking like a deserted war zone because the ignorant people went in and destroyed everything. So there's no win. And then if Biden wins, then inflation, things that used to cost nothing, you got to put your mortgage up for it. I I'm telling the people right now, learn a skill, learn something that you can
Hmm.
use so that you can help yourself, that you can be able to, be able to feed your family or if you live in a city, go meet some farmers or whatever the case may be. But I really don't see how this can continue for another 4 years and you survive or
I agree.
you make it out on the upper side of it. It is set up for the people who are already at the top to maintain to stay at the top and the people at the middle to bottom to fall further and further down. So you better start learning some new skills or uh learn how to I don't know, do something that's going to be beneficial to you in later life because this is all trash. Uh,
Yeah, I think a key thing is when you think about Trump, and this is how I try to think about his presidential term and how he became president.
mm,
And his term, when I think about it, it wasn't, yeah, he said some crazy things. But I think that for whatever reason, the way he was, the way he acted, it brought out the worst in some people. It told them it was
yeah.
okay to be that way. He
Yeah.
didn't tell people to do this. They just
No.
decided it was okay.
Yeah.
And I think that he gets the blame for that. And I do think it's a little unfair based on what I've seen. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so if if the president says this thing and he don't care, then I'm going to come out. He just told me and my homies to come out and be just all wild and out, destroy our
Yeah.
houses, destroy our neighbor's house. All of a sudden we
Yeah.
tell that neighbor that no one talked to at the end of the street that we don't like the color of their fence.
Hmm.
Whereas before we just would have let it be, okay, it's fine if you want your fence that color. I don't care. It doesn't bother me or anybody else. But now, for whatever reason, I feel like I should speak out and we're going to take this country over. And I don't think that was him. I think that's the people because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, people are going to be people.
Yep.
It's like this whole utopian concept that, hey, if we do, remember the whole defund the police thing?
Hmm.
If we defund the police, well, we don't need all these police officers. People can police themselves. Like, no, that doesn't work that way.
Nope.
And look at 2020. Look at what happened when we had a shortage in toilet paper and cleaning supplies. What happened? People were hoarding it instead of being given out to their fellow,
Yeah.
man and woman, or they were buying entire truckloads and turning around and selling it for 10 times the
Yeah.
price because it's capitalism. There
Yeah.
are, and that's up to me. I'm sure freedom of capitalism. That tells you who you really are when
Yeah.
there's people around you who desperately need it the most.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so that piece right there. That piece. I need people to like hone in on that piece right
yeah,
there. That is what you're dealing with, man. Greedy men who want only for themselves and they don't care about you, your family. They want for themselves. And you gotta
and that's going to exist,
that's
right?
going to exist. That's not going anywhere. It be just because, if Trump gets in office or Biden. No, that's going to exist. And it's going to, as we've seen it, businesses keep growing and you keep struggling. They don't care. The prices keep going higher. Things, things will go on sale, right? But that was the original price. And they'll count it as a sale. They may take off $1 or even double it and say buy one get the other one free, but all they did was double charge that first package, and you're buying two anyway, but told you that is a buy one get one free. Man is evil, and they don't care about you. People, wake up. Wake up, wake up,
Yeah,
wake up,
people
wake
always
up.
have ulterior motives. Think about the eBay thing, right? And remember eBay, it's like, okay, well, this item costs $39 and they want $6 to ship it. So you're
Hmm.
$45 out the door. This other person, they're like, oh, I'm only going to sell it for $15. Oh, but they want $25 shipping. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, their shipping is less, but they're like making that money up. It's like, you could tell, right? They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
working the system. It's good.
Yeah.
I got into it with a guy once because he was selling something, and I go, how much is that shipping? And he wanted like $13 for shipping. And I go, dude, that thing is so small you can fit it in a flat rate box. A flat rate box is, I think at the time, $7.95 or whatever. This
Hmm.
should cost no more than $8 shipping. I know that
Hmm.
because I ship shit every day.
Yeah. Right.
If you don't like my
People.
shipping, then you don't have to buy my item. Well, I'm not going to buy your item because you're fucking trying to steal my money.
Yeah. Any way that people can get over, they're gonna try it. If they can get over, they're gonna try it. Another point that you made that, just because Trump was a certain way, whatever's in a man's heart is gonna come out, and people were just waiting for the green light for them to expose their own selves, their own ways, how they felt about people. You know, Trump can say what he wants to say, but that doesn't mean you have to go out there and do those things,
Right.
partake in those things, you just had that in your heart already, and you were just waiting for a little window. He didn't green light it. He presented his red light, and you said, "Oh, it's yellow now. Let me go ahead and just take this."
That.
Trump said it, and this is this. Yeah, and that's all that was. That was just people having hatred in their own hearts that they wanted to, you know, showcase it to other people about whatever they wanted. And it's a we live in a sick country.
I'll say this before we move on is, again, and I've said this before, I said it earlier. I don't know. I don't think I would vote for Donald Trump right now, but I just know for a fact I would absolutely not vote for Biden based on the Biden that we saw the other night. And then some of his arguments as well. It's like,
Hmm.
well, yeah, Trump wants to add a 10% tariff to the Chinese, and that's going to make everything cost more for you. No, it doesn't work that way. You're charging this other country a fee to bring stuff in, an extra
Hmm.
fee. That doesn't get passed on to the consumer. It doesn't cost the companies here any more money. It costs the other country more money to bring those products here.
Right,
And
exactly.
so to me, and then by doing that, I guess if you do it enough, sure, you're going to make a larger chunk in the deficit or clean it up versus, not even raising taxes, but versus giving so much money away. All you're doing is making inflation in the deficit get even worse. Like honestly, I mean, you want to forgive my student loans? I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Because again, personally, how does it personally affect me? That's
Hmm.
killing the country, and I don't want my country to be killed. But man, I would love to get out from underneath these student loans like these
Yeah,
other people have.
right.
How about me? Me too. I'll take it. But the other night on that first debate, Trump was, because they always have fact checkers. He had, I think, something crazy like 36 lies that he had told up there, and then Biden had like 9. And Yeah, 36, 36,
36.
37. Yeah, it was over 35. They always do the fact checking thing. And funny, I'd say, well, Biden only had 9 because he didn't really say anything. He just mumbled and said the same shit over and over.
Yeah, you can't really hear
But
what he was saying.
yeah, but if you're up there and you're saying 36 things that aren't true, again, are these really our best 2 candidates? But you can twist that a little bit, right? So if I say, you know, Brian, I've been buying this coffee from you for, I don't know, 2 years or whatever. And,
Mm.
I've easily spent $500 in coffee in 2 years.
Yeah.
The fact checkers will say, no, you spent $486. That was a
Yeah,
lie.
yeah,
So,
that it, yeah, yeah.
so there's some of that in the whole fact checking there too.
Yeah, the
You can
numbers.
bend the truth. Yeah, it's the fish this big theory, right? I caught a fish this big versus this big. Oh, you're a liar because you said you caught a 2-foot bass and the thing was really only 18 inches long.
But we
I can't
know
trust
Trump
you.
does that. Like we know he
He's a
likes to,
storyteller, yeah. So
yeah, that's what he does.
not
Then,
not
he's
defending
just
his lies. Yeah, not defending his lies. I'm just saying that, if you go down those 36 accounts or those 9 accounts, what is it a lie? Is it not a lie? Biden said that the unemployment rate was 15% when he took over. That was a lie. It was only 6%. And that's a pretty big difference. But, $20,000 versus $25,000, whatever. Speaking of cars, you mentioned your car thing earlier, going into the dealership and talking to a salesperson that doesn't know jack shit,
Yeah.
which happens all the time,
So
which is
much.
fun too. When you ask them a follow-up question and they just you can see smoke coming out of their ears because they don't know. They haven't been programmed to answer that correctly. What are you into right now? What are you seeing out there that you like?
Man, I want to do some overland stuff. I want some that new 4Runner came out, but everyone that I talked to about it is like, no, because they die
Why?
hard last gen. They want the V8. They don't care
Yeah.
about that. They want that V8. They don't even care about gas, and I can see that. I I like the V8s. And especially with new engines, you can't stay. New engines, new styles. You got to give it a year. You got to wait till the following year to get it. So, I understand staying away from this one. But and the old gens just look a lot better. The 4Runners, I like those body, but that new body style does look good. I wish they would have put a
That thing's
V8 in it.
nice.
That thing is not.
That thing's nice. And the Sequoia,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Toyota Sequoia, that thing's nice too. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
that's what I'm looking at.
I think with a lot of those guys, it's like, oh, V8, V8, the power. It's a wuss if you're
Yeah.
not a V8. Nobody wants a little 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder, and the engineers have made these, they made these new, setups for these vehicles to have a smaller carbon footprint and be just as efficient, if not more efficient than some of these
Mhm.
older ones. A lot of the V6s now are so much better than counterpart V8s of the past that people are just falling so much in love with.
Mhm.
Even some of these, inline fours out there, I dare say. And then as, we have the technology to distribute the torque curves and things, especially when you're overlanding.
Mhm.
Like you take an EV overlanding or something that's a hybrid, you switch into EV mode, there's almost nothing you can't do. You just have to worry about running out of power, which is why you still need that internal combustion counterpart. But it's funny when you said that because it almost takes me back to politics, right? Well, I'm always going to be this side because that's just who I am. I'm always
Yeah.
going to be V8. Vote V8. Vote V8. That's I don't care how good them V6s
Yeah.
and them little fours are.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
else are you looking at? Overlanding is
Uh,
cool. Would you buy something and overland it out, or buy something that pretty much comes capable from the
Oh,
factory and
absolutely.
only
No, I
have to?
would buy it. And I mean, I would buy it and overland it out because those prices, oh my gosh. Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
goodness great. I don't who kudos to those that can afford that.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious, those prices are just like what? And then the prices that they have the package deal, you like that piece on there. I don't know about that. I could have found something better than that you added. Ugh. So yeah, I would definitely buy a vehicle and then put the right pieces, a better piece, more a piece that's gonna last. A lot of the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
they put on there is you're gonna have to replace it. So uh, yeah, I would definitely, I think I want to buy something old, like an old maybe Toyota Land Cruiser, an old one. Like,
Yeah, I think the smart strategy is because I don't do overlanding. I thought for a second maybe it'd be something I wanted to do with my Infinity. It's kind of, but you go with the vehicles that are equipped for that, and just in observing and watching other people. Sure, there's the hobbyists that get their brand new, Tacomas and Forerunners, and they look
yeah,
really nice. But some of the hardcore people, they're buying these older ones because when you look at them, they are all scratched to shit because they know,
yeah,
right?
they
They
know.
know that you spend money in a good vehicle with a good motor, but everything else you're gonna have to replace in order to make it exactly what you want it to do
Hmm.
anyway. And it's funny when I look at like a Range Rover commercial and they're kind of light overlanding and they're going over these rocks. I'm thinking, ain't nobody gonna buy that car and do that.
No,
Ain't nobody doing that.
that's no, that thing is that's the that's your vehicle that you go around Saturday mornings after you clean it up, go to the Cars and Coffee, and you just drive it around the town square or whatever. But you're definitely not taking that to get mud, dust, risk it
Scratched.
hitting you, scratch. You're not doing that. People
No.
stepping on it, like people are standing on other people's vehicles to help get the other vehicle out. Like you're not allowing anyone to stand on your hood that can literally dent from 20 pounds. Like, you're not allowing anyone to do that. It's
You
not
can
that.
tell when someone does it when you look at their vehicle and they have scratches up the side of their, like just a
Hmm.
bunch of scratches. Because a lot of times when you're on the edge, it's okay. Do I want to go over the edge or do I want to just drive through them hard, dry ass branches and scratch the shit out of my
Yep.
car? And they're gonna pick scratching the shit out of your car every time,
Hmm. Yeah.
or they're
So,
overgrown on both sides. And a lot of guys wrap now. They wrap both sides there, the expel or whatever on each side of the vehicle so that
hmm.
it doesn't scratch the paint. If it's a newer
Okay.
vehicle, they do
Oh,
that.
okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why yeah, I'll go with the old and
mm-mm.
just make it as rugged as possible. But, I still have a desire for, something fast. I was telling my wife the other day that, the Ram is good. The truck is good. But every now and then, I just want to go fast. We live on these back roads and they are hilly, nice curves. You know, I be my, I want my BMW back. I want something fast to.
Yeah, yeah. Is that a BMW sound?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, there we go.
That's good. I'm gonna use that as a clip. We're gonna go viral off that BMW sound.
That's
Brian,
the inline six.
that's the inline six. All right,
Yeah.
let's plug Warriors. Let's plug your brand.
Hey man, warriorscollectionbrand.com. Go there, get you a coffee as Jay has it. There's some
Tell us
apparel,
about this
some
coffee and why it's important.
the coffee is important because it helps build what I am trying to build. We're trying to get some land actually, trying to get some land to bring people together to help cultivate some warriors in their mindset to help bring them closer to God, teaching them new skills. So, check out the website. A lot of it's helping us build our empire that where we're trying to pour into other people. So, and if you don't, just maybe share it with someone else. But the goal is to just help as many people as we can. I'm not trying to be rich or elite with what I'm doing. I'm just trying to help people and show them the light and point them to God basically. So warriorscollectionbrand.com. Check out the podcast Warriors Vision on Apple, Spotify, all those things and support the podcast and listen to it and you may find out that we have some things in common, and you may find out that the things that you struggle with, I struggle with, and I could
Absolutely,
point you into the right direction to, overcome those things. I'm still learning as a young man, I would say. I'm 38, 39, somewhere around there. So I'm still young and I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I have a 2 year old, or she's gonna be two, and it's everything is new to me now, and I'm just learning and really enjoying life as it is. I'm learning how to be content in those things, and I'm sharing these things, sharing my story through my podcast, so that because I know there's other individuals that may be struggling with their identity. Not to take up too much time, I struggle with my identity with the military. veteran, and I wore that proudly. But now, as you tell, I don't have my dog tags on anymore because I have a greater identity, a child of God,
Mm.
and I'm it's a different way of living, a different way of viewing life, and you become more content and happy in what you are in, and your desire is to help others. So, check out the podcast, check out the YouTube channel, Warriors Collection Network. And if it's something that you can get behind and support, please do.
Well said, man. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
seeing you.
Nice seeing you too.
That conversation with Brian Sales is brought to you by Cell Shop Wireless Services. Cell Shop is an Arizona-based retailer that strives to be your destination of choice for wireless services, whether Arizona, Washington State, California, Texas, or Florida. They're an authorized AT&T dealer. They've personally helped me out on a trip. So visit them at cellshop.us and get connected today. Want to thank Right Honda and Right Toyota, 4wheelonline.com, the aforementioned Cell Shop. AutoCannon, officially licensed Honda and Acura gear. Make sure you get your pre-orders in. You have to follow them at AutoCannon Official to get on that mailing list. Patreon supporters, Kuya Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida, Automotive Specialty Tool out of Owensville, Maryland, Hell Construction out of Caledonia, Michigan, Big House Small Home Design out of Ashburn, Virginia, and Traverse City, Michigan, Shipping Success with West Anxiously out of Boise, Idaho. If you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, you can join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month and get access to bonus audio as well as show swag. There's probably a free joining too, I don't know. Shout out to Mark Stolman, Catherine Cox, Eddie Ramos, Richard Graves, Byron Jones, Bo Jung, Alex Camina, Drew Bunkley, and Yasser Chiba. You pick up Hard Parking Podcast swag at hardparkingpod.com. Email the show hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at Pfenning. Follow me on TikTok at hardparkingjay. Join the Hard Parking Violations Facebook group. And remember, I can't grow without you telling the world how great this show is. So let's do this. Let's grow this thing together. And I will talk to you all next week.
Shut up!